Hello again, students. Eric Magidson here. So today we're going to talk about creating charts and graphs, a graphical representation of data and information that you have contained in an Excel spreadsheet. So here we have a spreadsheet. If you notice, I'm using your Unit 2, Chapter 8 gas spreadsheet that you can bring up and follow along if you'd like. It represents the U.S. natural gas prices per 1,000 cubic feet for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 regions, plus gives us the U.S. average. Now I've gone ahead and updated this spreadsheet to actually formulate the average, whereas your spreadsheet has these numbers manually entered in. So the data is for New England through the Pacific regions for 2005, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So let's go ahead and create our first chart. And the key to creating charts is this. When we select data, we have to make sure we have the same number of cells in each column and row. So if you notice, in this case, in this table of data, I'm selecting this blank cell here as a cell so that I get the same number of cells in this column as in this column, as in this column. Or you could say the same number of cells and rows. So it's key that we select this. Now I can certainly create a table just by the data. Now notice I'm not including the average this time. And if there were totals, I'm not going to include the totals. Because suddenly if I was to total this row, I would have a big skewed number that would skew my chart and not necessarily give me the correct information. So let's see what happens if I just create a chart using the basic data. Now if you notice, I'm not including the row headings or the column headings. So let's see what that looks like. I've selected the data, same number of cells in each row and column. I'm coming to the Insert tab, and I'll do a column chart because this data really presents a great column chart. So there's a column chart. I'll let you look at that for a second, but what do we see that's missing? First of all, we don't have any XY axis. We don't know what the heck Series 1 is and what these values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this so that we can do it right. So this time I'm going to select that blank cell. I'm going to select the column headings, the row headings, and the data. Notice again, if there were totals, or in this case an average, I'm not selecting it. I want to just compare all the regions for every year. Back up to the Insert tab, into the Charts section. Now see, a pie chart wouldn't work real well here. A column chart can, and so can a line chart or a bar chart. I'll use the column, and hint on an exam, folks, I love the 3D column charts, so I'm going to use that. And now we have a much better representation of the data. We can see that the colors represent the years, and everything is grouped by region. So there's one nice chart that we can create. Go ahead and cut that. Now, I don't have to select all of the regions. So let me show you that. I want to create a chart that shows all of the year's data for New England, Mid-Atlantic. Now what I'm going to do, I've highlighted all the data that's together. I'm going to click and hold the Control key on my keyboard, come down here and select South Atlantic and Pacific. So I know it's a little hard to see, but I have selected the first two regions, including that blank cell. So again, I get the same number of cells in each column and the same number of cells in each row. Now I'll do Insert. We'll do another column chart so we see the same thing, 3D column. And now my chart is representing just the data I selected, New England, Mid-Atlantic, South Atlantic, and Pacific. So I'm comparing less data and creating a more accurate chart. Now let's say one of the things that a lot of times we want to do, and you can see it tells a different story. This time the years are grouped together, but we want to group together the regions. So what we can do is we can come up to the tool charts into the design, and here switch the row and column. By switching the row and column, suddenly we're back to group by region with the colors by year. So let me switch again. So you can see all I'm doing is hitting switch row and column to tell a completely different story. Here it's clear that New England has the highest gas prices amongst these 4 regions. But if I switch it, that story is not told as easy, because now I have to say, oh look, okay, the blue, what's the blue? It's New England. So although the data is factual either way, it tells a completely different story just by switching the row and column. One of the nice things I always want to have on my chart, and I'm going to go into layout, is a chart title. Because a lot of times I'm going to present this chart in, say, a PowerPoint or a presentation I'm giving without the raw data. So I certainly want to put in a chart title. I'll center it above the chart that says something like Commercial U.S. Natural Gas Prices. Now I'm going to do a Shift Enter, and I want to make sure I put in there measured in dollars per, and I'll just shorten this to 1,000 cubic feet. In parenthesis, I'll come in here and highlight that, come to the Home tab, and reduce the size of that text.